music to the noise, yeah, the mess we make. Machine Paul and Kelly get caught in the fray. Facts and logic with a twist of chest. Strip it down to truth, yeah, forget the rest. Humor blows the lies right out of the park. Look beyond the shadows that set the dark. Sparks of laughter fire up the night, bringing clarity when they blur the fight. Cut through the chaos, yeah, the tangled lies. Team Fun Kelly with a set of clear eyes. Truths and jokes gonna rock this show. Step into light where the real facts flow.
Hello and welcome to the Pun Show. Hope you're doing well. Just having a little bit of trouble getting my Instagram feed to sync up here. I don't know why. There we go. All right. So, any Hoosers, I almost didn't even want to have a show today. I've just been getting so tired of MAGA defending every evil thing. And I wonder at what point does it just become, do you honestly believe what you're saying? Are you a real person? Are you just a bot? Like where does truth begin? What is your reality? I don't even understand how some people could honestly look at the situation that happened with Alex Preddy and think that he was trying to kill them. Like every single aspect of it. And yet I keep seeing people on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it trying to justify it. I keep seeing the Trump administration try to pretend like these heroic ICE officers were just defending their own lives and the lives of everybody around them. So let's be clear what happened. First of all, their one of their complaints is, why did he bring a gun to a protest? And they gish gallop the crap out of these things. So I'm just going to go through and point all the problems out. The first thing they say is he brought a gun to a protest. It is perfectly legal to bring a gun to a protest. Number one. Number two, he wasn't at a protest. There was no protest there. There weren't people standing around and waving signs or something. He wasn't at a protest. What he was doing there, I get conflicting things. Some people say he was just in the neighborhood. Some people say he lived in the neighborhood. Some people say he was eating there. Some people say he was a legal observer. All of those things are legal. What he was doing there is completely irrelevant. He does not need to justify why he is where he is to avoid getting murdered. And this is one thing you'll notice that the MAGAs always love to do, is they love to make it about the victim. What did Mike Brown do? What did George Floyd do? What did Renee Good do? And now, what did Alex Preddy do? It's always about what the person that got killed did. It's never about what the person that killed them did. Because if they talk about what the person that killed them did, then they have to admit that they killed someone. So it doesn't matter what he was doing there. It doesn't matter that he had a gun. Number one, it doesn't matter he had a gun because he could legally carry a gun, and we have a constitutional right, as I have been reminded by Second Amendment faithful for, like the last 30 years. That we have guns that get brought into schools because people have a Second Amendment right. Can't even keep them out of schools. Why can't we, it's these places where, they have the, no gun laws. That's no gun zones. That's the only problem. So number one, he has a right to carry. He had a legal permit to carry. There was nothing illegal about him having that gun. Number two, Kristi Noem just lied straight through her teeth when she said he approached them brandishing the weapon. He never once touched his gun. Not one time during the entire encounter did he touch the gun. The only people that touched the gun were the ICE agents that touched it as they removed it right before they fired 10 bullets into his body, like in half of them into his lifeless corpse, just in case he wasn't lifeless enough. So it doesn't matter that he had a gun. Number 3, if he did bring a gun to a protest, bringing a gun to a protest is legal. Just ask, what's his name? I always block out his name. The idiot kid with the AR-15 in Wisconsin. Anyway, he brought a gun to a protest, and then it's like I hear people, but he wasn't protesting. Okay, so it's okay to bring a gun to a counter protest? Like, come on. At what point do you just say, you know, maybe he wasn't wrong to have a gun at all? And he wasn't protesting. Number 4, he didn't approach the agents. He didn't approach the agents at all. He didn't just not approach them brandishing a gun. He did not approach the agents. He approached a woman who had been pushed down by the agents to help her back up. And I just find it amazing that Renee Good's last words were, "You're just doing your job. I'm not mad at you, bro." And his last words were, "Are you okay?" Surgical, an ER nurse. And his last words were, "Are you okay?" He died trying to help somebody else. He didn't die trying to kill anybody. He died trying to help somebody. And then they pepper sprayed him. And then because his body reacts to being pepper sprayed the way any human body would react, they say he's resisting. So then because he's resisting, they gang up on him, pistol whip him. Then they see the gun. You know they didn't know that he had a gun when he came up, because it wasn't until just a couple of seconds before they shot him that you can hear somebody yell gun, and then that's when they emptied bullets out into him right after they took the gun from him. Why do you need to fill him with lead if you've already got the gun? So he never touched the gun. The only one who touched the gun was the ICE agent who took it from him. And now he's dead. And now you have people like S. Voss here saying liberals bringing guns to fight cops, as though this is who I'm talking to. Voss, are you a bot, or are you just an evil person, or are you an idiot? Because it's like one of the three. Either one, you're not actually a real person. You're just here to troll my account and be a jerk. I mean, you're not, and I don't even know why I would be talking to you if you're a bot. Number 2, you're a troll and you're just being a jerk and you're just being deliberately offensive. And number 3, you're just too stupid to know that you've been lied to, in spite of all the video evidence, everything that we can see from 47,000 different angles, and you're still sitting there doubling down on the stupidest possible comment. So which of the 3 are you? Are you an idiot? Are you a bot? Or are you evil? Okay, why bring a gun to a peaceful protest? We've already been through this, George. Number 1, he's allowed to bring a gun to a peaceful protest. He doesn't have to answer to why he didn't or did. Number 2, he wasn't at a peaceful protest. He wasn't at a protest at all. There was no protest there. Did you see people protesting? I didn't see anybody protesting. So he didn't bring a gun to a peaceful protest because he wasn't at a peaceful protest. I just went through all that. Were you here? He did not bring a gun to a peaceful protest. He wore a legally licensed gun that he wore every day. Is he not allowed a Second Amendment right, or is that only if you're going to use it to murder liberals with? No, but so are you stupid or are you evil? Are you too stupid to know the difference between when somebody has a gun and not has a gun? Or are you evil and you just don't care? Because you either know or you don't. And if you don't, it's because you're stupid. And if you do know and you're still saying what you're saying, then you're evil. So are you evil or are you stupid? See, you're evil. You're just evil, plain. What is wrong with, or unless you're a bot, what is wrong with your soul, MAGA? At what point can you just say, murdering civilians on the city sidewalks is wrong? Like, just admit it's wrong. It's okay. It's okay to say, I was duped. Tom Sawyer once said, it's easier to convince somebody, or easier to fool someone than convince they've been fooled. You've been fooled. You can stop digging deeper and deeper into that hole. You don't have to double down to save your dignity. You can just say, okay, Donald Trump got me. I was a fool. But if you look at what happened and you think that Alex Petrie was the threat there, then you're just willfully ignoring all the evidence of your eyes and ears. George Orwell is rolling over in his grave because of you. He warned us, and here you are shilling for the big brother. Ask them about January. Yeah. It's January 6th was okay. January 6th was just a peaceful protest where 140 police officers got beaten. I mean, it's just, where is your moral dignity, MAGA? Where is your moral dignity? A man was literally killed for trying to help a woman. He wasn't trying to assault ICE officers. He wasn't impeding an investigation. He wasn't obstructing anything. He was just trying to help a woman up. Okay, does he have a right to have a gun? He had a gun everywhere. He wore it every day. So why is it all of a sudden that if a liberal has a gun, that's grounds to execute him? He wasn't even executed. He was lynched. I was thinking about the definition of lynched. And he was lynched. He had a bunch of pseudo police officers ganged up on him and had a summary execution extrajudicially to terrify the citizens. That's exactly what a lynching is. He didn't involve himself in a government operation. That's the thing. See, this is what you guys have to do. You have to make up things. And involving yourself in a government operation is not grounds for lethal force. All the people that have been sitting there saying Ashley Babbitt was murdered, didn't she involve herself in a government operation? Were you wrong then or were you wrong now? He wasn't even trying to stop anything. He was just trying to help a woman up. I don't know. See, this is what I'm wondering is at what point, are they trolling? That's why I say they're either stupid, they're evil, or they're bots. If they're bots, then, what's the use? Just ban them. If they're evil, what's the use? Because they're just evil and they don't care. It was neither a protest nor a riot. How do you explain? Are you a real person, Shadow Band? I don't think you are. Either that or you're either you're a troll and you're pretending to be and you act like a real person when you're out on the street. Your mom hates you. You can't find a wife because you're such a despicable underwear stain. You're a penile wart. It's none of your business when he legally carried a weapon where he legally could, as hats, either you or I mean, This is okay. So I didn't even prepare anything today because I just knew that people would come on and want to defend just gangland executions. What was he resisting? You know, and that's the thing is like, let's see. What was Roger? Like, I wonder what would happen, like if you were to just go up and spray half a can of pepper spray into somebody's face from 2 feet away. I wonder if their body would contort at all, or if they would react to that at all, or would they just stand stoically still? I think there's probably at least some involuntary reaction going on when somebody is spraying pepper spray into your face from 2 feet away. Like, that's gotta hurt a little bit, right? He was trying to help that poor woman. Why was ICE assaulting this woman who was a journalist, by the way, and had her press pass on? There wasn't a riot. What, were there windows being broken? How was there a riot? Why do you guys have to lie? Stanley, you're an idiot. Agreed. I don't know who's lying. Is it me or them? He never pulled a. Please show me where he pulled a gun on the Fed. Are you a liar? At what point did he pull a gun on a Fed? Have you watched the videos? There is not a single video available that shows he ever touched his gun at all. He didn't even have the gun on his person when they put 10 rounds of bullets into him. That you can watch the gun be taken out of his holster, and then they fill him with lead. So tell me, how are you the only one that knows he pulled gun on a Fed? So are you just so stupid that you take whatever cosplayer has to say for things, or are you so like, do you just not believe the evidence of your eyes and ears and just believe what Big Brother tells you to? MAGA record, Epstein file, taxes or traffic, Second Amendment. Oh, MAGA, Epstein files, L, taxes, aka traffic, L, Second Amendment, L. Like, this is, even the NRA is pushing back on this one. That one, like, I was like, where's the NRA? Then even the NRA was like, hey, he was helping a middle-aged woman push down. That's all he was doing. And then they're like, oh, but then he resisted. He, because they were spraying pepper spray into his face. And you're going to physically react to having pepper spray sprayed into your face. I don't know. Maybe, these YouTube warriors are tougher than I think they are. And they melt down if you point out they're a liar. But they're apparently tough as nails when it comes to pepper spray being sprayed in their face. MAGA does not have any dignity, any sense. I mean, it's like at this point, you're self-sorting, right? It's not about whether or not I am calling MAGA anything anymore. But if you continue to call yourself MAGA, you continue to identify with certain things, including just murdering people in the pretext of stopping murders. Minnesota has one of the lower illegal immigration rates in the country. It's like 1.5%. Texas is like 6 or 7%. How come we don't have ICE like this? How come we have more ICE agents in Minnesota than we do in Texas? My friends, where's your moral compass? You have none. Well, my moral compass is the one that's telling me that murdering people on the city sidewalk for trying to help a woman to her feet is wrong. I did not just lie. He's caught on video. No, he's not caught on video obstructing and pushing feds. He is caught on video reacting to being sprayed. And number two, obstructing and pushing feds is not grounds for lethal force. So even if he were obstructing and pushing feds, that's not reason to fill him with lead. Stop trying to find a reason to justify murder. That's what it was. It was murder. It wasn't ICE at that. Whatever. ICE, Homeland Security, all the same gang of thugs. MAGA has zero integrity and their moral compass is broken. He intercepted an agent. I never saw an agent flying through the air. He didn't intercept an agent. Oh, so obstructing law enforcement is warrant for the death penalty. You are so lost. I don't know who's lost, me or MAGA. MAGA is the one that's lost. There is no way you can look at that situation and tell me he deserved to die. Not if you're being morally honest and honest to what actually happened. You want the video that shows the gun in his hand? There is no video that has the gun in his hand. There are all kinds of videos that show no gun in his hand. There is no video that shows the gun in his hand. If you have a video that shows a gun in his hand, it is an AI video. But there is no such video. One could argue that if ICE hadn't, and there's also the fact that you can watch the ICE agent remove the gun from his holster, okay, before they shoot him. So number one, if they had the gun in his hand at some point, when did he holster it? How did it get in his holster? Why was the guy pulling it out of his holster if it was in his holster? Since you seem to be really, really incapable of thought, let me pose that question to you. Number two, why did they still have to fill him with lead after they had the gun? You have to understand that grounds for lethal force isn't he called me a name or he pushed me. You can arrest him for obstruction of justice if you genuinely think he was preventing you from carrying out a lawful arrest, but that doesn't happen nearly as much as you would think, because what they're doing is not lawful. They were shoving a poor reporter on the ground. That's not an operation. That's just abusing citizens. And no, he did not have the video. There is no video with a gun in his hand. One could argue that ICE hadn't crossed the. If ICE hadn't crossed the street, this could have been avoided. If ICE hadn't crossed the border or border patrol, why is border patrol in Minneapolis? Don't think any borders are there. He was shot in the back several times. Thank you for the repost, C. I guess he won't do that again. No, he won't, because he's dead. And that's the problem. He will never be able to help another woman that slipped, that got pushed down to the ground. He will never be able to help another woman up. That was his crime. And you're happy that he will never be able to help a woman up again. Only MAGA are entitled to the Second Amendment. And it would appear so. And what's funny is, like, even if you follow this whole logic through, right? Why do they say we have the Second Amendment? It is so that we can fight back. According to them, it is so we can fight back against this overreaching tyrannical government. So according to their logic, you have a constitutional right, not just to carry a gun, but you have a constitutional right to use it against federal forces. That's their whole logic. I mean, I think the logic is flawed, but it's their logic. So if he were wielding the gun, when she was not doing, you should be protecting his constitutional right. This guy is AI. I did not know I'm AI. Thank you for that revelation. My wife would love to know that. Everyone in the chat, would you get into a fight with a police officer while having your gun on your hip? One for yes. He didn't get into a fight with the police officer. There were no police officers there. He didn't get into a fight. They just came up to him and started spraying him. He didn't get into a fight with anybody. They attacked him. Like, would you get attacked wearing a gun? Easy fix. Get off. Yes. So, and this is their solution to everything, is we don't have to worry about getting murdered if we just shut our mouths and stay home. And let ICE is not law enforcement. Border Patrol is not law enforcement. And we have a right to speak. We have a right to audit what's going on. We have our rights too. You're saying that the easy street is to just not exercise our rights. And that's exactly why we're protesting, which we also have a right to do. Why don't you just shut up and stay home? The country was coupled by fascists. Was cooed by fascists. Yeah, kind of. Ashley had it coming. Ashley was a domestic terrorist. He didn't do anything to incite the Border Patrol to approach him. No, he didn't. And even if he did, see, this is what I mean when I say Gish Gallop. Because you ask this question as though if the answer is in the affirmative, that means he deserved to die. So first of all, the answer is not in the affirmative. All he did was try to help a woman up. Number two, helping a woman up is not grounds to be murdered. He never once struck an officer. He never once touched his gun. They ganged up on him, beat the crap out of him, took his gun, and then put bullets in his head. That's what happened. Those are the facts. Anything that you think is relevant to that, he was never a threat to them. They can only use lethal force if he was an imminent danger to their life or somebody else's. He never at once had his hand on his gun. He never pointed it at anybody because he never touched it. We know he never touched it because they pulled it out of his holster. How is he a threat? Why did he deserve to die? You want to say, well, he could have been arrested. He did this wrong. Fine. I don't agree, but that's still no reason to murder him. So you're saying if he did anything at all for the Border Patrol to approach him, which, by the way, he did not, but if he had, that's still no reason to murder him. So I reject the premise of your question as well as the assumed answer. ICE is not LE, and neither is Border Patrol. The past was erased. The erasure was forgotten. The lie became truth. George Orwell. MAGA has no clue. And they used to love to quote Orwell, right? They used to love to quote Orwell as though Orwell would agree with them. They think George Orwell and George Carlin agree with them. Neither one of them would be MAGA, I assure you. They are bots. Kitty, my buddy, has been filtering through and trying to get rid of most of the bots. I think these are just genuinely stupid people or genuinely evil people. But I think we've filtered out most of the bots. We can kind of tell when there's bots because when they come on, there will be like 15 of, like the number of people on the chat will suddenly jump by like 15. Projection doesn't need to be live streamed. Okay. then maybe Donald Trump can stop giving press conferences. I'm not projecting anything. I'm stayed home. Oh, good for you. It's funny how you guys were all upset about staying home, just being asked to stay home during COVID. Now you want to tell everybody to stay home because they think they have like rights and stuff. And it's funny, like when it was during COVID, you were all like, oh, no, they're taking away our rights. By just Donald Trump was president in 2020, for those who have forgotten, which seems to be like most of the MAGAverse. But that wasn't even an order. That wasn't like an order. Nobody was getting executed for leaving their house. Now you want to say, oh, you deserve to be executed if you leave your house, and I disagree with you. And then you have people like the Asian guy that were just sitting around in their house minding their own business. And you have ICE kicking down their door. So maybe you should just back off the high and mighty. Ashley Babbitt wasn't resisting arrest. She was trespassing. She wasn't armed with a deadly weapon or driving. So, yes, Gob. She was just there peacefully offering hugs. Where was she, Gob? Where was she? Where was she? What was she doing? He was just on the streets of Minneapolis trying to help a woman up. She was crawling through the broken window of a barricaded door to try to kill the vice president of the United States. Stop soft selling that. The truth has no defense against a fool determined to believe. Mark Twain. Hello again. Hello, MAGA. I've got one for you, First Avenger. This is one of my favorites. It's Bill Murray. It's hard to win an argument with a smart person, but it's damn near impossible to win an argument with a stupid person. That one's also a good one for the MAGAs. History will justify those who resist, like Italy and Germany. Like another one bites the dust. Steve walked warily down the street with his whim hung way down low. You can beat him, you can shoot. That was my first album. Queen's another one bite the dust. The difference between Ashley Babbitt and Renee Good is you can't use their death to leverage sanctimonious hysterical outrage. No, you're the one trying to leverage sanctimonious hysterical outrage. The difference between Renee Good and Ashley Babbitt is Ashley Babbitt was trying to crawl through the window of a barricaded door to murder the vice president of the United States, and Renee Good was trying to go home. You realize that shooting and lynching can both be true at the same time, right? Do you think that lynching means somebody has to be hung? How about you look up the word? A bunch of insults and misinformation. Nice morals. I don't know what misinformation you think is out there. Okay. We've already been through that enough time. First and foremost, he was taken down and beaten by 8 officers. So he wasn't any more obstructing than he was forced into that situation. Second, he was disarmed before being shot in the back 12 times. I mean, there is just no way I could ever look at that video and in any way, shape, or form feel like they were being threatened by him before the first shot was fired. There's no way you can look at that honestly. That's why I'm just like, at some point, MAGA, is your soul just broken? Do you even have the ability to see reality anymore? He was on the ground. He was on his knees, and there was a gun right to the back of his head. It reminded me, see if I can find this. Is this the one? Right there. You telling me he's a threat to them right there? Who is the threat to who? That's what it reminds me of. Today, Schindler's List. What do you think? What do you think, Patsy? Look pretty much the same thing? Is he holding a gun right there? If you can sit there and, like there was the camera where, people are trying to say the camera was a gun. I don't know. The only thing you can shoot with a camera is pictures. But right there, he was just executed. He was executed like a Jew in a concentration camp. Stop justifying it. All the people who disagree. No. All the people who disagree with reality in order to justify evil are either stupid or evil. There are all kinds of people who disagree with me on all kinds of things that are neither stupid nor evil. But looking at this and saying he was the threat to them, that's either stupid or evil. There is only two ways you can look at that and say he was the threat, Roger. Either you're stupid or you're evil. Because if you're justifying evil, you are evil. That's according to the Bible, by the way. If ICE can kill you for having a legal firearm, then you don't have the right to bear arms. Okay. God, this is not your little place to take a survey on stupid, pointless questions. I'm tired of you, God. You have no integrity. The fact that you can't see right from wrong makes you just as bad as the people killing unarmed protesters. Hello, tell them Johnny Waddle was here. Who is Johnny Waddle? Waddle? Is that a real person? I can't see your. It's an interesting name. Johnny Waddles. Oh, Johnny Wad. Johnny Wad. Whoever Johnny Wad was. Redshift. Sorry, I have a little bit of dyslexia. So sometimes when you get letters packed together, it's hard for me to see the difference, distinguish them. Redshift 12. The fact that you can't see right from wrong makes you just as bad as the people killing unarmed protesters. I'm Big John. I thought are you? Oh, Big John, Johnny Wad. Do you think getting all right? I think we're done with God. You're allowed to carry a gun, God. The Fed sure can. Like the other Orange Jesus MAGA morons make bleep up as they go. Or like the Orange Jesus MAGA makes them. He was being beaten, lynched, and pistol whipped and sprayed with pepper. He was in the fetal position when they took the gun from his hands, from his hip, in his holstered gun, by the way. I was watching a career, like when it first happened, there was this career police officer of some sort, like FBI agent or something that, had spent many, many, many decades on the streets. Like he was not just an analyst. That at first he's like, well, we've only seen this one view. We have to look at a bunch of other angles. We have to figure out what led up to it. And so then the next day, after all the things had come out, he was back on the show. I should say MS Now. So then but the next day, once everything had come out, he was like, yesterday I was saying we need to see everything. And he's like, today, this is one of the most offensive shootings I've ever seen. Like, there was no question at all about it. He was just, he was one of the hardest I've seen on this, because he was like breaking down all the breakdowns in police procedure, in what they had done, and just in how they had abused not just him but other innocent people, and just it was just an abuse of authority. And so, like, don't forget there were two other people that were maced. There was at least one other person who they had physically thrown to the ground, the one he was helping up there, and then they were trying to like still throw her to the ground again. There was the fact that they were like accosting protesters or observers afterwards and stealing their phones, confiscating their video, which they have a First Amendment right to take. And what are they going to do? They're going to shoot them next? And right, they're not even officers. They don't have any illegal authority over U.S. citizens. And I don't even understand why Border Patrol is in Minneapolis. What is it? Minneapolis border? St. Paul? Like what? It's not even next to the Canadian border. Why are they looking? What is Border Patrol doing there? He didn't carry a gun during a police conference. Like, by your logic, if the police ever confront somebody that's carrying a gun, they're carrying a gun during a police confrontation. He did not confront the police. The police confronted him. Like, what does that, can you please acknowledge that? Like, I don't understand. Like, are you just going to repeat that point over and over again as though it's something valid? If you're not going to debate in good faith, Roger, just go away. And if you don't go away voluntarily and you keep pushing this, we'll make you go away. He didn't pull his gun, but he proceeded to remove. What was he going to do? They had the gun. And he didn't proceed to remove his extra magazine. He put his phone in his pocket. And what's he going to do? Throw bullets at them? They had his gun. All right? Everything else doesn't matter. Once they have his gun, they didn't even know he had a gun until they yelled gun. And then immediately they emptied bullets into his head. So stop with the justifications. He didn't have the gun when they filled him with lead. What is so hard about that? They disarmed him and he never removed the gun from his holster. They took it from his holster in the small of his back, you liars. Exactly. How did they remove it from his holster if he had it in his hand? What if I was you, the people asking all these questions? Well, what if it was you, the people? I don't understand the question. I didn't say you weren't allowed to carry a gun. I said it was stupid. He didn't pick a fight, Gob. He didn't pick a fight. And even if he did pick a fight while he had a gun, that's still not reason to murder him. Police, there are specific grounds for which law enforcement or ICE or anybody can use lethal force. And it's only if he is an immediate threat. He never at one point was a threat to anybody. If this case goes to trial, that officer will go to jail. I guarantee you. This is an open and shut case of murder. There is zero justification for lethal force. They threw him to the ground and they pistol whipped him and they maced him and then they took his gun away and then they put 10 bullets in his head, in his back, while he was lying on the ground. They murdered him. I don't care what qualification you have, Gob. It was a murder. He had no business being there on a public sidewalk in the city in which he was exercising his First Amendment right. What are you, a Nazi? It's right. It's like the Second Amendment protects the first crowd is like Well, he wouldn't be dead if he weren't exercising his First Amendment now. And good guys don't cover up crime scenes. Thank you. Thank you. I just want Patsy. I think we're doing something right by getting rid of some of the trolls, because I think we're getting more. Like I think people that aren't trolls are actually starting to, like, not mind being in here because the trolls aren't dominating everything. Why do the violent protests? Why do the violent protest criminals? Who's protesting criminals? I honestly, I don't know. The criminals in this case are the agents that murdered the man. Last I saw, murder was still a crime. He was not there. Again, I don't know if you're aware of this. He was not there as a protester. There was no active protest going on there. He wasn't protesting. It just looked like there was somebody that, if you watch, if you've ever been to Minnesota, and when the roads are really icy like that, it can be. I lived there for 7 years, so I know of what I speak of. Minnesota winters, when it's icy, the roads can get slippery, and with all the commotion and everything going on, it looked like somebody was pulling out, and he was just trying to direct traffic to help them get out. And then if you watch the footage, the person who was shoved down on the ground was shoved down on the ground right in front of the car that was trying to pull out. So he went over there to help her up. And you can see the video from the person that was in that car that was pulling out. There's her dash cam footage. So I don't know what violent criminals he was trying to protect. I know that right now MAGA is trying to protect a violent criminal that murdered him. Also, I conceded it was wrong. You need to Cohen to see that it was very stupid of him to. He didn't start a fight with a police officer. He didn't start a fight with the police officer, God. Tell me how he... Okay, here's the thing. If you're going to tweet anything, if you're going to post anything else, you have to ask her this question next, or else you're just gone from the channel, because I'm tired of you. Tell me how he started a fight. Tell me what action he took to start a fight with the police officers. And there weren't any police officers. Yeah. Unless he had no business being there. Unless you want to argue Kyle should have been in prison. That's the other thing, is the whole Kyle Rittenhouse overlap. But I think the person that was saying that was saying so facetiously because of the other people that were like, if he had just stayed home. Why can't you speak English? I don't know. I'm trying to. Am I speaking in tongues? I didn't make a mistake. I murdered somebody. A mistake is accidentally putting onions on somebody's hamburger when they said they hold the onions. A mistake is not throwing somebody to the ground, pistol whipping them, spraying chemical irritants in their face, and then putting 10 bullets in his head. That's not the heat of the moment. And that's also what they're supposed to be trained to not do. Come on. Can't you just admit they were wrong? And this is swing state. This is the real thing. It came out, right, that they requested the voter polls. This never had anything to do with immigration. This never had anything to do with fraud or Somalia. This has to do with Minnesota voting against Trump 3 times. That's all it is. This has to do with the 2026 elections. This has to do with the pretext to announce the Insurrection Act. You can only go where the SS tells you, right? And if you're, ideologically aligned, you can be allowed to walk around on the streets, but only if you agree with Trump. They're going to make it so pretty soon so that you have to wear your ID or a MAGA hat. The ministry of truth would never lie. How could I use Second Amendment absolutists to say that the Second Amendment is to protect yourself against a tyrannical government? Say that he shouldn't have been there and he shouldn't carry. That's the thing that I disagree with that rendition of the Second Amendment, but I find it hysterical that people that have spent 30 years digging that hole now will say he shouldn't have had a gun trying to impede federal officers, when she wasn't doing, by the way. But if that's their, how do they not recognize the difference? There's I had a guest on that's specializes in political psychology about a year ago, and she was pointing out that we wrongly call something cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is actually the feeling of discomfort that you have when new data comes and contradicts your pre-existing concepts, right? So you're have this momentary feeling of discomfort, how do I reconcile these things? And I can't remember what she called it, but it was like cognitive rejection or something. And that's what the actual issue is. Rather than deal with that dissonance, rather than actually consider the contradiction between the new information and your existing worldview, they just reject existing information. They don't try to reconcile. The problem is not that they have cognitive dissonance. It's that they don't have cognitive dissonance. And I just think this is such a perfect example of it. If they actually thought what they say they think about the Second Amendment, they should be saying, even if he had his gun out and was brandishing at them, at ICE officers, he was just exercising his Second Amendment right. But to them, tyranny only exists if they're not the tyrant. Sterling 430, prove it. Without receipts, it makes you a lying Nazi. He has the receipts. He had a gun. Yes, we know. He had a gun. He never touched it, but he had one. There's do you agree that the Second Amendment exists, Liam? Funny how, right wing. Why is that? Funny how white ringers treat Kyle Rittenhouse like a hero for running around during a protest with an assault rifle. And if you look, there was a lot of evidence that was disqualified from that trial, where people were saying that he was pointing the gun at people all day long. But none of that made it in a trial. You mean Kyle Rittenhouse? Because he's an American citizen and he has a Second Amendment right to carry in the open carry in the state of Minnesota. He also had a concealed weapon permit. Your logic is delusional, he said, without actually saying anything at all other than just an ad hominem attack, which is, by the way, a fallacy, which is a lack of logic. It shows his phone diffs. We have at least 4 sources of close-up footage of his phone. Can you get the picture of him, the close-up picture of him holding his phone, Patsy? Just so we can put this stupid thing to rest. The one ICE agent took his gun. The other one pulled his gun out and yelled, "Gun, gun, gun." And the officer that pushed the lady down was pistol whipping the bleep out of that poor guy. And the guy that fired the first shot, you can watch, his eyes are just trained right on the gun. He's watching the guy. He's watching his co-thug pull the gun out, then empties his gun into the guy, into Preddy. Are you a furry? No, I don't think so. I did. There was one time when I was in a Christian group on a college campus, and we were doing an outreach thing, and I was dressed up as a chicken one day, but not really a furry. MAGA is cornered. They're needing the outright lie of this time instead of stretching the truth. No one's buying it anymore. And that's what I wonder. I wonder if there's any MAGAs at all that were just like, I voted for Trump 3 times. I still support ICE. I think that, the mission to get rid of illegal immigrants is important. But this incident, just this incident, is too far. Like, is there any line which you will come back from? That's what I mean when I ask if is MAGA just morally bankrupt at this point? Can you just watch a murder from 20 different angles and say, yeah, that's murder, that was wrong. My guys did it, but they were wrong to do that. At some point, and Kristi Noem was wrong, or as I like to call her, Kristi Noem. Was she just wrong to come out and say that he was brandishing a weapon when she clearly was not? Why can't they just say that they got it wrong? Why can't they just say the ICE agent was wrong? Why can't they let Minnesota investigate the murder of its own citizens? It's like, at what point do you, as a MAGA, even acknowledge anything at all? MAGA is cornered. They're needing the outright lie. Okay, no, that's the one I just read. No gun, no threat. Yes. If he ever was a threat, the moment they took the gun away from him, he ceased to be one. I don't even see where that's a conversation. Left or right, we are all American and our rights are being violated. Yes, thank you. Were you there, Slick? No, I wasn't there, Slick. Were you there, Slick? And do you know how to spell there? There were cameras there that took recordings. Like, I love it when people are like, oh, were you there? As though they were. As though somehow the people that were and the eyewitnesses that said things weren't there. Like, just, if I wasn't there, I can't have an opinion on it that's different from their opinion, even though they weren't there. And even though I'm just agreeing with the people that were there and the actual footage of things that was there. I suppose you were too busy being up Donald Trump's diaper. He put his hands. So what? Because he didn't really put his hands on the officer. He reacted to getting sprayed in the face with mace. And number two, that does not make him an imminent threat. That does not justify lethal force. It doesn't matter if he put his hands on the officer. He was trying to pick the guy. I mean, like, this is just like, what do you think? I don't care. If he goes to court and he's like, well, he touched me. He touched me. So I murdered him. Sorry. That's not grounds to murder somebody, dude. Stop trying to make it sound like anything at all. Like some of these videos and stuff where they'll be like, oh, this guy twitched right here. So that just shows he was resisting. He was suffocating and he was trying to breathe. Like they talk about George Floyd. Well, he moved. The Second Amendment is there to ensure that free people can defend themselves if, God forbid, government became tyrannical and turned against its citizens. Well, damn, that's some irony right there. I mean, I disagree with Charlie Kirk, but if you agree with Charlie Kirk, it's pretty hilarious that, now he's wrong, I guess. I know, but they don't know that. So why confront a not? He didn't confront anybody. We've been through this. He did not confront them. They confronted him. The encounter was started by them, not him. He did not engage with them. They engaged with him. What's up? Okay, so we got the picture of him holding the camera. Okay. Sorry, just uploading this real quick. So right there, you see he's got the camera in his one hand. He's got nothing at all in the second hand. So at the time the whole engagement started, his gun is still in his holster. Where was he a threat? When was he going to threaten them? When was he going to kill them? It was never going to happen. He was not a threat at all. Because they're not law enforcement. That's why. I mean, they're law enforcement in terms of like immigrants, but in terms of American citizens, they have nothing to do. The Border Patrol has nothing to do with law enforcement. Second Amendment allows you to bring a gun anywhere. Yeah. I mean, well, except for gun-free zones, which he was not in a gun-free zone. Trump loves the lawless he gets away with. Average Texan behavior, to be honest. Fake guns, right? People exposing themselves. He didn't bring a gun to a Nazi party. He like it. I know you're saying, that you called them Nazis and stuff, which I agree with, but he wore a gun everywhere. Like he wore a gun all the time. He did not just choose to wear a gun that day. Apparently he regularly wore a gun, and he just happened to be there when all that happened, and he didn't take his gun off before he went to help the lady. Left or right, some of them are really upset if you point out that or if you say ICE instead of Border Patrol. But it's just, different gangsters, different cartels saying same thing, It's like saying his MS-13. He obstructed the office. He did not obstruct them in their duties. How did he obstruct them if they had to approach him? And he wasn't directing traffic to impede their progress. They weren't in cars. Like, just and if he was, then that's no reasons for lethal force. It's like you guys have to find something he did wrong to make it okay to kill him. The only thing that justifies killing him is if they were acting in self-defense. If he was an imminent threat to kill one of them or to kill somebody else. That was never was that the case. So it's like, I don't want to go into a big thing about how he was directing traffic to obstruct them, which wasn't true anyway. But even if it were true, which it wasn't, it wouldn't matter because that's not grounds to just do lethal force. He was trying to help a woman out in a car that was just trying to pull out. That's all he was trying to do. Yeah, see, that's the American dream, right? That's America. If you go out and protest, take your chances. Like he's being facetious here, but that's like, I have had so many MAGAs tell me, well, just stay home. That's what you get for protesting and stuff. And I mean, he's saying it facetiously, they're saying it seriously. These ACE agents are unhinged and liable to do whatever they choose. Trump cultists only see what Trump regime is telling them to see. What this government is doing to others will eventually be done to you as well. That's, I pointed it out before. The poem starts, first they came for the communists, right? Then they came for the socialists. Then they came for the trade unionists. Can't remember. And each one time it's like, and nobody stood up. And I did not stand up, and I did not stand up. Then they came for me, and nobody was left to stand for me. That's the end. So they're coming for the illegals, and they started off that it was just going to be the worst of the worst, right? Then it was mass deportations. Then it was just anybody that's here illegally. Then it's anybody that's here from a pigmented country. We've had people that came here legally have their legal status revoked by Trump. They came here legally. They did not do anything wrong at any point in time. But Trump just decided you're not here legally anymore. And so now you can be deported. Then it's what about the ones that were getting citizenship? He canceled new citizenships for a bunch of people. They'd done everything they could to get citizenship. And now he's also talking about just taking away citizenship from some people. How long before he starts taking away citizenship? He wants to take away citizenship from people that were born here and take away the 14th Amendment. So is it about illegal immigrants, or is it just about people having pigment? Because you look at the commonality, it's always the people with the pigment that are bearing the brunt of things. And his poop hole countries that he calls them, except he doesn't say that. I think there are people in here that are getting me mad. Well, it's not people in here that are getting me mad. It's the entire situation that has me mad. And I mean, I feel like I deserve to be mad. I feel like if you're not mad, there's something wrong with you. Because murdering people on the city sidewalks makes me mad. Because I am a human being with compassion and with moral dignity. Of course I'm mad. My brothers live in the Twin Cities. Their families live in the Twin Cities. They shouldn't have to work. I mean, and their siblings, they talk to me. My brothers and their spouses' siblings, like we're all friends. I have one that like I message all the time on Facebook. She's terrified. She's a law-abiding American citizen. She just doesn't even want to go to the grocery store because she doesn't know what's going to happen. This was state-sponsored murder. I keep going back to the word lynching. Like, if you look at the definition, especially the first part of it. Let me share this with you. Because if you look at the actual definition of lynching, it's pretty startling. Lynching is an unlawful. So what they did to him was unlawful, often public. It was public. Execution. It was an execution carried out by a mob. There were like 6 or 8 of them against an individual, Preddy, without legal trial. He did not have a legal trial or due process. He did not have due process. Primarily used for racial terror and control, all against the illegal immigrants and all of that. right? Which has, along with America First and replacement theory and all of that stuff that's tied to it. Yes, there's a racist element to this, especially against black people. It's not against black people, but close enough. In the South, so this last part where it's time and place thing, but new kind of lynching, different era. How is that? How does it not fit every single detail of that? It wasn't a state. It wasn't just state sponsored murder. It was state sponsored terrorism. That's what they see. That's what they keep saying, right? That they have absolute immunity. As long as you as long as they shoot you, you deserve to be shot. Well, it was murder because it wasn't justified lethal force. And it wasn't justified lethal force because he was never a danger to them. If whether you reject the premise or not doesn't mean that you're right. It just means that you don't know what you're talking about. Somehow I got what happened there. Did you? He did not obstructing the officers. He didn't obstruct the officers, but even if he did, that's not grounds for lethal force. Stop trying to make up things about what justifies lethal force. The only thing that justifies lethal force is if he were an immediate threat to their life. Directing traffic to impede their progress is not grounds for murder. It's not grounds for lethal force. And since it's not the grounds for lethal force, it is just straight up murder. I'm sorry, I clicked on the wrong place, and so I lost my place. Billionaires are only players that tell you to pick a side that you don't want. Okay, actually, this reminds me of something. So this I've been talking about this book a few times, so I'm gonna drop this link in here, and if you want to read this book, it's called White Trash. And this is like my affiliate link to Amazon. But if you want to read this book, it's called White Trash, and it's basically it's about the history of rich white people exploiting racism to get poor white people to think that if black people and colored people get privilege, then they're going to lose their station in life. This is this is the same book, different chapter that we've been writing throughout American history. It's funny sometimes, Patsy, when I get down and I see that somebody has been removed and I don't know what they did, but I'm just like, I'm glad I never have to know. Thank you for battling the front line for me. Carlin loved to protest the government. Carlin loved to protest, and he was an equal opportunity protester, but he definitely was anything but MAGA. MAGA is splitting into conservatives with eyes and morals and those without. Yeah, and it's like the more we distill down, the more you identify. You're just like, if you think that Stephen Miller is a good person, that tells me all I need to know about you. That man is so right. Joanne, scared of the Constitution? It's like the First Amendment right. Like, let's just consider this. His First Amendment right to protest, they were violating. His First Amendment right to free speech, they were violating. didn't violate his First Amendment right to religion, as far as I can tell. But then the person with the press pass they were throwing down on the ground, they were violating her First Amendment right to free press. The Second Amendment right to carry a gun, they killed him for carrying a gun. There's the Fourth Amendment right to unreasonable search and seizure. There's the Fifth Amendment right to due process. Like, there's the 10th Amendment right now to like, they're using this to, as long as Minnesota gives up its state rights, then they will stop murdering its citizens. Like, this is a war on the Constitution. Just in that one incident, there's like 5 different violations of civil rights. Then there was also they confiscated people's phones and recordings, which is another First Amendment right. The ACLU is all over this. The government is chipping away at the Constitution, period, taking away your rights. They are. I had a thing that I was never able to get to, but just all the different ways that Donald Trump is going after the Constitution. We moved past politics now. Both sides agree the country is moving in the wrong directions, ignoring bots. I wonder where we're going to end up. I wonder if, and this is a big if we're ever on the other side of this, I wonder what things will look like. I wonder if we will get to where the Democratic Party ends up becoming the party of the right, and then there's another party that's on the left, like the AOC, Bernie Sanders, Democratic Socialists versus the Democrats. But, where both are actually solution-based parties, where we actually have conversations about what to do instead of just rant-based fanaticism about, how 20 million illegals were let in and stuff like that. Just absolute insanity. Trump loves ICE, distracts from Epstein files. ICE does not have jurisdiction everywhere in the country. Actually, ICE only has jurisdiction over illegal immigrants. ICE does not have any jurisdiction over American citizens. There's only very, very limited circumstances where they can detain an American citizen. And none of those things were going on. See, here's the problem, Hercules. I know what I'm talking about, and you don't know what you're talking about. So no, ICE does not have jurisdiction everywhere in the country. ICE only has jurisdiction over immigration. There was nothing to do with immigration going on there. You seem scared of the Second Amendment. Second Amendment all the way. It's hilarious that we're to the point where the so-called conservative crowd is the ones that are running from the Second Amendment. It only takes 6 minutes longer to become an ICE agent. It only takes 6 minutes. Well, it takes six weeks. I think that's what you meant. You can be high on marijuana and ask the reporter who went undercover. They made it 47 days because obviously MAGA is... He was disarmed when he was murdered. Yes. He was warned to get what? Okay, based on what do they have? What, based on what authority can they tell him to get off the street? They don't have any authority to tell him to get off the street. I think there's this misunderstanding, and this is when I mentioned Gish Gallop, that there is somehow obstruction applies if they're not getting off the street when they're told to get off the street. They have to be forcibly impeding an operation. That means they have to be physically restraining ICE from being able to do what it's doing. They can honk their horns. They can blow their whistles. They can clamp their hands and stomp their feet. They can insult ICE. They can take pictures. They can take recordings. They can do all of that stuff. All of that is free speech. They can't tackle an ICE agent and keep him from arresting somebody. They weren't doing any of that. The only thing they were doing is beating up a poor reporter woman. So whether they can say you can say he was warned to get off the street, I would just say they illegally told him to get off the street, which doesn't matter. He still wasn't a threat to them when they murdered him. All your little equivocations and qualifications don't matter. If you wanted to say that he wasn't murdered and they arrested him for, then we could have that. We can have the trial out on that. But that's not what happened. They put bullets in his body. You can't put bullets in somebody's body because he didn't do what he told them to do and didn't stop exercising his First Amendment rights when they told him to. Second Amendment does not require to say you are carrying a weapon. I don't care if people smoke weed, just not on the job. I don't know. I think if some of these people were smoking weed on the job, I would love it if Stephen Miller were to just get good and properly stoned. He needs to mellow out. Because I actually know what I'm talking about and you don't. I don't even think I'm in an argument with you. I am correcting you. And you are not realizing you are being corrected. Left or right, we are all Americans and our rights are being violated. I fought the law and the law won. Okay, but did he really fight the law? And did the law really win? I think the lawless fought him and the lawless won. Still a good song. Like, he didn't do anything illegal. They did. So who fought the law? Are you implying all of MAGA are unintelligent? I'm saying that the ones that remain who continue to choose to identify as MAGA are either unintelligent or evil. Because MAGA is evil. I'm just murdering somebody, especially like in this kind of situation, Gary, where you watch somebody be murdered. If you try to justify that or qualify that or say things like, well, he shouldn't have been there, you're justifying the murder of a man. So at that point, either one, you believe that he deserved to die, or you don't. If you don't believe he deserved to die, then you could say, in this instance, it was wrong. But if you believe he deserved to die, there's only two things that are true. Either you believe he deserved to die because you are dumb enough to believe what Christine Noem says, in spite of the mountain of video evidence against that, including things like this, where he clearly does not have a gun. He's clearly not brandishing a gun. Or you're evil and you just think that he deserved to die anyway because he did something you don't like. So yes, I am saying that MAGA who defend this are either stupid or evil. So you can always just say you don't defend this. Ashley was murdered too. Come on. No, she wasn't murdered too. Ashley was in an entirely different situation. But if Ashley was murdered, then you're saying, but when you say Ashley was murdered too, are you admitting that he was murdered? Ashley Babbitt was all the time. This is your favorite whataboutism. Ashley Babbitt was trying to crawl through the broken window that they broke of a barricaded door to try to murder the vice president of the United States. Whether she had a weapon or not, they don't know. They just know a crazy woman is the first one of a couple of thousand people that's coming through that door. What were they supposed to do? Tickle her? No, there's there's absolutely no reason to believe that Renee was stupid or crazy. That's just a false equivalence. And again, and this is why I say you're either stupid or lazy or evil. Either you're trying to make it so that Renee Good deserved to be murdered because she was driving home, or you're stupid enough to believe that she was trying to kill Jonathan Ross. So are you stupid or are you evil, Gary? Which one is it? The irony of the Don't Tread on Me party becoming the party of you better do what the government tells you. My favorite, like, did you know that the person that was trampled to death was carrying a Gadsden sign? I find that hilarious. Her last words were probably, "Read my sign." You know, don't tread on me. Anyway, how long have you been on unemployment? I'm not on unemployment. I don't understand also what my employment situation has to do with this situation. That's all right. You're still a MAGA. I guess you can't change your spots. The gun on the back of the head photo is no, it's not. It's not AI, dude. There's all kinds of videos. You can see it in the video. That's a screen cap from a video. His gun discharged first, albeit in. So another officer stole his gun, shot it, and accidentally fired it, and then they fired bullets into him. And that means it's okay? Maybe they shouldn't be firing. Like, you don't even know that's true. That's just a thing you're saying. But even if it is, that's not a reason that he deserved to die. They murdered somebody who poses no threat. That's why we're pissed off about it, dude. This is why when we say things like, when don't believe the things which your own eyes saw. It's not, I'm not making this up. This is not some fabrication from the depths of Kelly's mind. That guy got killed. So the 95, I don't know that she weighs 95 pounds and she wasn't armed. She had a pocket knife. And they don't know that she's not unarmed. And there's a bunch of people behind her. And then she's screaming that she's going to try to get and kill the vice president. They don't know she doesn't have a gun. What are they supposed to do? Wait until she comes through and then like search her, and then wait until the next person comes through and then search them, and then do it all 2,000 at a time after they've already blasted through so many doors and beaten 140 cops? Why are you so dishonest? Seriously, you're either evil or stupid. Are you too evil to know the difference? Or are you too stupid? Are you too stupid to know the difference? Or are you too evil to care? What's wrong with your soul, MAGA? It doesn't even matter. There's lots of casualties. There's not a war. We're not at war. Sorry, hang on a second. So we've got some. I mean, it's like they act like Ashley Babbitt was just coming through to offer them bubble gum. Okay, explain to me where it says that interfering with law enforcement is grounds for lethal force. Show me where that says. Show me what statute says it's okay to kill somebody for interfering with law enforcement. Let's just set aside the whole argument that he was not interfering with law enforcement, because he wasn't. But even if he were, your explanation still carries with it a lie. That if he were interfering with law enforcement, that would justify shooting. The only reason lethal force is authorized is if there is an imminent threat to the life of the officer or somebody else. Show me and tell me how he was going to kill anybody. Go on, or get the hell off my channel. Not without ID. I don't even care what that means. He's allowed, like whatever I mean, and we don't know that he didn't have ID. We know that DHS said that. We also know DHS said that he was brandishing a weapon, and we know that's not true. So we don't know he didn't have ID. And two, there's no law that says that, like, show me your papers, but you're not a Nazi, right, Gary? He's allowed to not have ID. And number three, not having ID is not grounds for lethal force. Tell me, all you MAGAs, either say how he was going to kill somebody if they did not kill him, or just shut the hell up. All of you who believe is doing a good thing, I don't think you've ever read Leviticus. This man was a good man who died trying to save a woman that ICE pushed to the ground, and Fox News again lies. It's just it's like they have, and I wonder if it's like at some point, like when somebody gets scammed, at a certain point they know they're scammed, right? Like they've already given 90% of their life savings, and then the scammer is like demanding the last 10%, and they know that they're scammed. They know that if they're just giving away their money at this point, there's no chance they're ever going to get any of it back. But they give that last bit because they don't want to admit they've been scammed. At that point, they have to believe that they haven't been scammed. So they just believe anything. And I feel like this is what's going on with MAGA now. They have been so scammed, and for 10 years, and they've been like, oh, you're going to get me this time, as though all these other times that Trump got away with doing the evil crap he did, it was just the Dems trying to make up things. Like he didn't really have all these meetings with Russia. That Russia wasn't really a thing. Or that he didn't try to extort Ukraine into investigating Hunter Biden. Like he didn't try to overthrow the country on January 6, 2021. Like he didn't steal top secret documents from the United States of America. Like he didn't rape a woman. Like he wasn't adjudicated as a rapist. Like he didn't defraud the state of New York out of hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes. Like none of that happened to them because Trump said it didn't. Forget what trials said. Forget what the evidence says. Forget what the evidence of your eyes and ears say. Trump said it, so it must be true, because you're just so committed at this point. You are so committed to the bit that you cannot see reality anymore. He was not was he a lethal threat to anybody? Was he I'm tired of arguing this. Show me he was a threat. Show me he was a physical threat to end somebody's life, because that's the grounds for lethal force. I don't care if you think he was interfering with law enforcement. Interfering with law enforcement is not grounds for extrajudicial termination. Somebody needs to sue Fox again for lying. So what? Being a part of ISWAS is a constitutional right. It is not grounds to go around executing people, Gary. Can you show me where he was a threat to end one of those agents' lives? Show me how he was an imminent threat. Being a member of ICE Watch is not grounds to execute somebody. That's grounds. The First Amendment protects that. Yeah, well, better than having ICE out murdering people. Yeah, the arrest of they weren't arresting a woman. They were beating the crap out of a press person. She was a journalist. And they were just throwing her around. They weren't arresting her. She wasn't an undocumented immigrant. She had a press pass on, and that made her the enemy. They were violating her First Amendment rights. Why do you think they never arrested her afterwards? You ever think of that? Are MAGAs even capable of thinking at all? I was born in England. I live in Canada. Facts. ICE is doing a good job, and those useless idiots. Oh, look. Somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about. I like how the only argument support ICE is, but he had a gun on him, but he was there to watch them. It's like, oh, he was exercising. And this is from the crowd that has screamed for years, the Second Amendment protects the First, until, you can violate both rights at the same time by emptying out your gun into somebody's head. So this doesn't have anything to do with Obama. Obama didn't have ICE agents out executing American citizens on the street. How brainwashed do you have to be to actually believe? And that's why I say you're either stupid or you're evil. Like either deep down that it's not true and you still have to defend it because, it's just what you want. You just celebrate in the murder of people, or else you're dumb enough to actually believe Christine O.M. when she says he was brandishing a weapon and you don't know the difference between a gun and a phone. Like you're either stupid or you're not. Okay. We have a phone message. I'm glad I checked. It was about an hour ago. So we'll just play this anyway. So that phone number that's scrolling across the bottom there, if you ever want to call in and leave a message, you can. And we'll play it. I just need to. So somebody says, what happened? Sorry. So there you go. No more. I wonder what. Oh, whoops! Anyway, did you hear that? Did I have it on the right screen? I did not have it on the white screen. Wow. Let me try this again. Sure. Here we go.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? I don't know what this is, but America first, man. Gotta put America first. No more Israel. No more Venezuela. No more foreign interventions. We have to focus on America and our citizens. Have a blessed day.
So anyway, that is quite a statement. As I was saying, some people, somebody sounds like he might have been we were talking about some people need to get stoned. Apparently, that guy has taken that message to heart. Anyway, okay, so hang on. Let me. So I don't care what you think. If you support ICE in their brutality, you are not a Christian. It's really interesting how people can try to reconcile these things. Yeah, and unless there's just lethal force is only justified in self-defense. That's it. Any other, well, he did this, he did that, he pushed them. Now, you actually have to be in danger of losing your own life in order to use lethal force. He was never a danger to them. If they fight with the police and ignore lawful commands, well, first of all, he didn't fight with the police. And two, you don't get to kill people for ignoring lawful commands. That's just not true. Learn what the laws are. That isn't legal. Yes, that is the absolute legal standing. Yes. That is the only time that you can shoot somebody if you're police is if it's in self-defense. Yeah, and the law says that I can intervene a citizen if I believe another citizen is at risk of bodily harm. The okay, so one of the what is the let me I'll have to look it up. But the actual statute says that it has to be, in order for it to be obstruction, it has to be forcible, which means physical. It means it has to actually engage in physically preventing an ICE agent from being able to do the thing they're trying to do or threatening to. So if he had pulled out his gun and said, let that woman go or I will shoot you, that would have constituted obstruction. Trying to help the woman up is not obstruction. And even if it were obstruction, it does not constitute lethal force. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I mean, it didn't go off while he had it. So that's and we don't know that how do you know he had it was chambered? Like, stop making excuses. He didn't fire a gun. And the gun did not go off while it was in his hands, if it went off at all. This is like a new MAGA talking point, is all of a sudden that it went off when the other guy had it. Like, that's his fault. Caps lock means you are a bot and are not welcome. That's why they're so angry all the time. All right, so hang on. What Carol said. No, it's shared account. No, it's not shared accountability. He can be where he was not doing anything wrong at all. He can be there doing what he was doing. What he was doing is exercising his First Amendment rights, number one. Both things cannot be true at the same time. If he was exercising his constitutional rights, then there's no reason at all he couldn't be there. You're just like, here, I made something for you guys. Hopefully you'll appreciate this. This is just I'm thinking I'm gonna market this. It's a new kind of gum. It's called boot flavored bubble gum. You get 1,000 licks in every, or 10,000 licks in every stick. Because you guys seem to love the flavor of boots because you keep licking them all the time. I figured maybe I should start marketing this out at, MAGA rallies and stuff like that. You guys really love it. You guys are sitting there celebrating literal executions on the street. So I figure it's time you got your own guns, your own gum. Maybe we should have some gum control. All right, that one's weak, I'll admit it. It's going to be wonderful. Yeah, stupid comment. Oh, okay. Stephen Miller is the dictator behind Trump. Yeah. The domestic terrorist who was an ER nurse who saved lives, whose last words were, "Are you okay?" The domestic terrorists are the ones that shot him. Okay, the only two people were murdered we've talked about today are Renee Good and Preddy. Ashley Babbitt was certainly not murdered. Yes, Ashley's was justified and this guy's isn't. I don't even understand why you think that is a difficult a difficult thing to parse. One was trying to murder the vice president of the United States. One was trying to help a woman stand up. How was he being radical? What was he doing that was so radical? Helping somebody stand up is radical. Helping somebody try to overthrow the country is radical. Helping somebody stand up, like this is like that you in your mind connect these two dots is insane. Ashley was a victim of her own decisions, as well, except Renee wasn't a victim of her decision, and neither was the guy who was shot on Saturday. Renee made a decision to go home. Preddy made a decision to help a woman stand on her feet. Ashley Babbitt made a decision to try to overthrow the country. She did not drive a deadly. We've been through that one too many times already. Everybody, this is again just you're either evil or stupid at this point. There's been enough video breakdowns and everything like that, and everybody knows that has any sense of reason and logic that she did not try to run him over. It's just a stupid thing to say. Only MAGA spreads propaganda, and only MAGA believe. Well, I don't know if only MAGA believes it, but it's everything MAGA believes and touts as propaganda. Wow. Okay, so we're going to have a special guest join us for a minute here. Um, I have to go take care of a situation. So, hey, Patsy. Hey,
Hi. How are you doing?
pretty good. Pretty good. We're. I think things are actually going a little better today. I think we're getting more
Humans?
more humans. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. Some we agree with, some we don't, but it's a lot less chaotic. It's a lot more normal.
Oh, good.
So
Good. I'm
thank
glad
you for
that's
all your work.
working out for you. I'm trying to keep
Yes.
up.
Well, it's a lot of work.
It is.
All right, so I'm going to disappear for a couple of seconds and let you
All
run.
right. I'll do my call to action.
All right, awesome.
All right. So we're teetering off.
Whoops.
It says my
Sorry.
audio was removed. Are we good? Okay. So I want to come in and do what our call to actions are this week for those of us that are working to fight the fascist regime. We all know that I'm a little bit more a little more I put a little more effort into fighting this regime. I'm sure that you all will call me all the lovely profane words that you generally have for people that tend to be more humanistic and want, like, healthcare for all and childcare for all and people to be able to have a safety net if they have a crisis, little things like that, so we could all have a chance to strive and all do well, because when we're all doing well, everybody can do well. So, call to action this week. The Senate is going to vote on the funding bill that is also the Gestapo bill. So, one of our calls to action is to make sure that you call or email or make an appointment with or contact your senators before the Senate vote so that you can tell them what your feelings are on it. I prefer that you would contact them and let them know that we don't want to fund the Gestapo and that we're not going to pass the funding bill until then. I hate that it has to be pending a government shutdown. That really bothers me. I really want that bill passed that says nobody gets paid, that the Congress or the Senate, they don't get paid or their benefits during the times that the government is shut down. That would be nice. I think they should take it off their pension days too, if you want me to be honest. And I kind of feel like they need to pay us back for the long vacation they had this last year. Like maybe it needs to get deducted from their salaries. That's another rant. However, so we are pending a shutdown, but the stopgap funding bill, which is really stupid anyway, to be honest with you, it's basically economic suicide. But okay, either way, the big part that we are wanting to fight is the piece that involves the funding of ICE and the Gestapo. There needs to be some real shifts and changes in the way things are happening right now. Additionally, I believe that we have a couple of Congress people, 70, I believe was the last count on the signatures, that are filing articles of impeachment against Kristi Noem. Remember, Kristi Noem is like a box of chocolates. Both are going to kill your dog. So, let's see, what else did we do? Call for action. I'm asking people to reach out and donate to the various Minnesota front lines to help with the protesters and the National Guard and the families that are being uprooted currently through all of this chaos. You can I do a daily call to action on resistancekitty.com that does a political summary as well as really easy, tangible things you can do from your home. Right now, we're doing ICE bracelets where we're making beads of bracelets with the emergency phone number to call and whistles. We're also, we have some petitions and some ready-made letters that are specifically focused on ICE and the our rights that are being stripped away from us. I was reading an article yesterday that discussed how almost every single section of the Constitution has now been violated, specifically by, this administration, and all within the next several months. I am going to warn you that part of the path of Project 2025 also has them working towards legislation to remove employers the ability to hire those in the LGBTQ community. So we're going to start seeing more of that. If they pass the SAVE Act actually will prevent married women from being able to vote unless they can have definitive proof that they have changed their name. So that's a whole complicated mess of things, especially for rural American women. And I see that Kelly is back.
Kelly
So that's like bits and pieces of what we have for today.
Thank
So
you for
we'll see how the comments did.
So I just caught the tail end of what you were saying about the SAVE Act and Donald Trump stealing all our rights one by one.
Yeah, because this year they're going to put in legislation that prevents employers from hiring those in the LGBTQ community.
Here's a trivia question for you. You can stick around, or
No, I want to be off camera.
Okay. But before that, here's a trivia question for you.
Okay.
I think it's the Federalist keeps a database of all the illegal votes and ballots cast since 1980.
Yeah.
Guess how many of those illegal votes would have been prevented by the SAVE Act?
How many?
0. Like
wow.
One
Holy
of them,
shit, I gotta go read that.
This is there's been like there's very few cases of undocumented or non-citizens voting. Even fewer of those are actual
it's just ridiculous.
illegal aliens, but the few that are here are that they had fake passports and stuff, so they would have been able to vote under the SAVE Act. So anyway,
it's just ridiculous. So our big focus though this week is really the defunding of ICE and making sure that the budget, the Senate doesn't vote on the budget until that funding is removed.
It needs to.
It's military level funding. It's higher than 2 branches of the military get.
This is no longer like defund the police type thing. This is it's defund the Gestapo.
It needs to be, it's defund the Gestapo, and it needs to be restructured. All right, I'm clicking off.
Okay. So all right, I see. How brainwashed are you? Is it left or right issues? Is it?
Told.
Oh, whoops. There we go. This action in Minnesota is just another distraction. Yeah, it's kind of hard to know the what the distraction is anymore, and what the like it's just one thing is remember we conquered Venezuela a couple of weeks ago. Nobody talks about that anymore. Just like last week, remember we were like almost ready to disband NATO over Greenland. It's like one stupid, incredibly insane thing after another. And it's like everything is just a bigger distraction from the last distraction. Right now we've got 20,000 red balloons floating around in the sky, and they're all distractions. And it's hard to know what is real and what is a distraction anymore. But I think it's just, if you have enough distractions, then you can do whatever you want and get away with whatever you want. He gets Social Security. That's why he doesn't like Trump, thinking it would. I don't know what you're talking about. No victim blaming. We don't whose gun it was. Could have been. You mean the one that went off? What we know is that he didn't have a gun on him at all when he was shot. That he was never a threat to shoot anybody. ICE would not have a chance in Texas. House Democrats. It's funny, you know. They don't do this stuff in Texas. I live in Texas. We have ICE in Texas. There was an ICE arrest not too far from my house not that long ago. But they're not running around in the same, you know, we don't have 3,000 ICE agents in one city in Texas. What wrong with your entitled self-thinking? You don't have to be held at any accountability for your actions. I don't know what you're saying. What actions do I need to be held accountable for, and how am I saying that you shouldn't be held accountable for your actions? Donald Trump's the one that's not being held accountable for his actions. I don't know what entitled self-thinking is. Kelly, that's like saying people who commit petty theft is grounds for lethal force. We know it's not, but the situations can escalate. Come on, dude. Except the situation didn't have to escalate, dude. And if they escalate, then they need to escalate to the point where the person becomes a threat. So if somebody gets the cop comes in and somebody's trying to steal a Twinkie bar and they pull out a gun, then the cop shoots them. They're not getting shot for petty theft. Things escalated to the point where they became a threat to the officer and the officer killed them. At some point, there has to be grounds for lethal force, and the only grounds for lethal force is self-defense. There was never any point where that man was a danger to anybody. So you say escalate, it didn't escalate. The only thing that escalated is they kept beating him more until they shot him. Except, yeah, and I see the facetiousness there. I see the sarcasm font with the shrug. None of you understanding. I don't know who's not understanding policy, but the policy is, just in case, the policy is that you have to, there has to be a threat in order to use lethal force. Agents felt threatened. How? And just for clarity, the threat has to be a reasonable person would feel threatened. It can't just be, oh, I said I felt, like just saying you felt threatened is not grounds. You actually have to prove that a reasonable person would feel threatened. There is no way a reasonable person is going to feel threatened when you see 6 people around another guy beating him, pistol whipping him, and then shooting him, and then saying he was the threat. Like Savage says, they were in no danger. They were never in any danger. I work in the ER with cops all the time. These guys are childs. Carrying an extra clip. No, it's not. It's not a crime. And even if it were a crime, it's still not grounds for lethal force. You want the war, it's the only way you'll stay. Yeah, they want to escalate. The one who wants this, nobody wants to escalate this more than Donald Trump does. Donald Trump wants to be able to declare martial law. He wasn't detained by law enforcement. He was never asked for a permit. They don't have any grounds to arrest him because he was not committing any federal crimes. None of this is applicable because he was never a threat. Oh, that's it. He thought about brandishing it. I didn't realize. Leave our country. He's an. Oh. No Nazis in the USA. Yes. Go back to Germany. Well, they don't want you either. Nurses save lives under terrible conditions. That's the thing. And how it just really strikes me. I just keep thinking about this guy was a nurse, an ER nurse who worked with veterans whose last words were, "Are you okay?" His last words were, "Are you okay?" And I'm supposed to believe he's a domestic terrorist? Like, it's sad that, anybody watch, by the way, does anybody watch the, oh, what is that? All of a sudden I dropped my brain. The one that won the Pit. Anybody watch The Pit? Does anybody like that? My wife's cousin's with Noah Wiley, so I watch it. But man, it is such a good show. It's such a good show. There's that one doctor that has the YouTube channel that reviews how realistic it is. He said it was almost too realistic. It's a really, really good show. I don't know if anybody watches it. But anyway, I was watching that show after he got shot. I was watching it last night. And I was just thinking about, like, this is this guy's life every day. I like Trump, but the man had a right to carry his firearm in an open carry state. Thank you. All right, Richard, I just want to say I was hoping I could find some more of you than I have, like people that were like, even if they said, I agree with Trump on almost everything, this is like, this is not, and it, this is not Trump's fault. I mean, not directly anyway, but at least somebody that can say, this is too much. Like, this guy deserves justice. So Savage was going savage on somebody named Josh Brooks 120, but Patsy took care of Josh Brooks 120, so I don't know what he was saying, but I have a hunch by both hers and his reaction that he deserved what he got. Thanks for trying to still reach out to MAGA. I can't. I get way too angry. I had somebody tell me, I almost didn't even want to do the show today. So I'm really glad that, there was one person that at least said that much. Because I didn't even want to do the show today. I was just so tired of dealing with the false equivalences and the justifications and everything like that. Like, again, I have I have actual family. I have people I love in Minnesota that have to deal with this crap on the daily basis. And I just admit that this guy did not deserve to die. Like, why is that so hard? So at least, having one guy say, well, at least he did have a right to carry a gun. I like John Cena and what's that? What is the one where he's a Peacemaker. Peacemaker's a great show. I love John Cena as an actor. Like, I think, he's actually got a very good sense of humor, and all that. But it's time to stop trying to find people that are presidents that shouldn't be president. You should actually understand civics and stuff. Like, you wouldn't be like, oh, John Cena should be a doctor. Like, I don't want Noah Wiley to be my doctor. As much as I love the Pit, I don't want him to be my doctor, even if he's my wife's cousin. Kelly, he wasn't convicted of rape. I didn't say he was convicted of rape. I said he was an adjudicated rapist. I mean, he was. Wow. That's actually tells me how far behind I am. I just realized. 334. Whoa. I am all right. So we're going to skip down to the new comments here. Sorry, guys. I just realized I was more than half an hour behind. I want an Eagly show. You know, I'm so sorry, that's not a Eagly was awesome. That was a private message. We haven't yet to have a scientist for president. I don't know if I want a scientist for president any more than I want a politician to be a scientist. I think that we don't acknowledge that some things actually require understanding and knowledge, and one of them is actually running one of the most complex governments in the history of the world. And you look at what's going on right now, and this is what happens when you have idiocy running the country. I think we need a return to like actual understanding of things. Somebody that understands what the Constitution is, for instance, other than just an encumbrance. They've already gotten us to fracture the EU with Brexit, then NATO with Greenland. That is true. No, I wasn't convicted. I got off. I said I did not have sexual relations with that woman, and they believe me. We at least need someone in office that's competent or that knows how to read and write. Talking to MAGA can take a toll on people. They are crazy, hypocritical, insane. Like the way that they came out, like if I had told you a week ago that today MAGA would be screaming about how somebody deserved to die because they had a gun on them, you would have like said, no, like, because, you know, I mean, it's like the running joke is their one, they are so dogmatic about the Second Amendment, you know. Oh, and not only that, because it was carrying a gun in a protest. Like the Second Amendment protects the first crowd, just did a 180 fast. I mean, I'm surprised they don't have whiplash. Yeah. So hey, War Pigs, the Hun. Who would you like to? Maybe we can. Who would you like to see among the Democrats, or who would you like to see at the top of the Democratic ticket? The Kelly. Oh, I thought you meant Kelly, me Kelly. That Kelly. Didn't he get convicted? R. Kelly. We need a politician who's a mathematician or something. If we don't hold education and knowledge in high regard, we get people like RFK Jr. in charge. I've thought before how what you could do. Here's what I think. Is one idea would be, if you're running for president, you should voluntarily take the same test that you have to take the citizenship test. You don't have to. You voluntarily can take the citizen test that immigrants take to become naturalized. You just take the test, and then your score is publicly known. Like, I think that would be cool. Like, and then if you don't take the test, then everybody's just like, well, you know, why are you afraid to take the test? Who thinks that Donald Trump would pass that test? I don't. I think Donald Trump would fail that. I don't even know if Donald Trump can still spell his name right. But I doubt very highly he could pass a citizenship test. You know, I mean, I think that you should be an expert in the thing that you're doing. Like, I don't want a mathematician for a doctor, and I don't want a doctor figuring out the path for a spaceship. I've got to do another segment on this. You know who's You know who Craig Newmark is? Craig Newmark, if you think about his first name, he is the guy that started Craigslist. And Craigslist has actually just become worth a lot of money, as you might suggest. But while he's independently wealthy, he's not a billionaire because he's given like billions of dollars in philanthropy. He's like not poor. I mean, he's not sitting there trying to figure out how to put butter on his bread or anything. But he's made enough money that he can live decently, and he says, I have enough and that's all I need. And he just gives the rest away to all kinds of causes, including like voting rights and stuff like that. Anyway, I think we should recognize philanthropists more and wealth less. You know, like, and but like in terms of like Mark Cuban, I'm not looking for a liberal version of Trump. And I don't think that Mark Cuban would want to be president, and then I wouldn't want him to be president. What I do like what Mark Cuban is doing is he is using private enterprise to solve social problems, like with his whole pharmaceutical thing. Like he identified a problem, he's making money off of it, but he's also actually really solving a problem. And like I wish I could see more of that. Not so much politician or billionaires becoming politicians, but billionaires trying to solve problems privately and use their money and their influence in capitalism to try and like find capitalist solutions. But I don't like the idea that you have to be, you know, like falling into this trap where you have to be a billionaire to run for president. RFK bravely informed us about the effects of Tylenol too, right? What a hero. And now, like, just think of all the people that have measles now that would have not had the right to get measles if it weren't for him. Trump would fail the citizen. Trump would fail miserably. I doubt he could get. Donald Trump would not be a citizen if he had to take the citizenship test. No one. Dude loved the Bible, but he can't name and recite a verse. He can't even name a book, Mr. 2 Corinthians. Warren Buffett, maybe. At least then he wouldn't start TerraForce. That's true. Have a good evening, everyone. Thanks for stopping by there, Mr. Warpig. What is the good of what Cuban is doing? But something like healthcare shouldn't be for profit business. He's brought down the cost of pharmaceuticals for a lot of people that couldn't afford it. I agree with you that healthcare should eventually be free, but he can't just like mandate that by himself. But at least he's doing something to try to help with the cost for some people. Did I run out of comments? So anybody got anything to say? Well, we'll give it another couple of minutes. Let me go back up here and see some. Well, we conquered Venezuela. We didn't arrest the criminal running Venezuela. We don't have a legal right to arrest the criminal running Venezuela. I'm not saying he's not a criminal, but we didn't have the right to go in there and do what we did. But we conquered it. We're running Venezuela now. Venezuela is not self-autonomous. I mean, we didn't make the person that won the election didn't put them in charge of Venezuela. Donald Trump says he is the president of Venezuela. How is that not conquering it? Donald Trump said that we're keeping the oil, and he's already started using the oil. And you know, how is that not conquering Venezuela? When you take over the country, take over the administration, when you kidnap the leader of the country, whether they're legally the leader or not, then determine you're the leader of the country, and then take that country's resource as your own. How is that not conquering it? That's absolutely conquering it. That's a good question. ICE needs to be shut down and rebuilt because the regime has destroyed trust in them. Never has ICE been so hated, even though MAGA loves to screech that Obama deported more than whatever. Yeah, I mean, how Obama deported people and how Trump is deporting people are two different things. And also, Obama wasn't like having ICE murder American citizens on the street, or Border Patrol, for that matter. So that's kind of a big difference. But also, I keep hearing like people say, abolish ICE, and then you know, people will respond, that's like defund the police. First of all, in 2020, everybody was like, oh, defund the police is going to cost us elections. If I remember correctly, we won the election in 2020. Defund the police did not cost us any elections. This seems to be like have gone down the memory hole of life. Nobody, like, we didn't lose elections over defund the police. As far as I recall, Joe Biden won the election. But also, I think that abolish ICE right now has a lot more popularity than defund the police ever did. ICE is just doesn't have the same necessity that police did. Police do. Like, you know, I think there's a certain level where people go, you know, okay, I understand we need to do something about police brutality and rebuilding how we think of police, and how we need to take certain, you know, police were overburdened with a lot of things they're not trained to do. So there's a lot of things that you know, like reconsider how we do policing was like a real thing. But that said, ICE is not necessary. We can just, you know, have a different kind of immigration control. And what ICE is doing right now is just, we don't need that. We just don't need that. So I agree with you. Just do something different. Do something that's not ICE. We don't need this. It's destroying our country. Somebody says there is no difference. I don't know what Darren M6E, they are human, but I'm assuming you're talking about immigrants or something. Yes. And this is like the whole this is what happens, like dehumanizing. When you start saying things like illegals, then dehumanizing becomes easier. And once you start dehumanizing them, you can start, wow. Sorry, I just looked at my TV screen. I have the there's in New York City, there is a massive protest going on in reaction to the killing of Freddie. All retired citizens who've worked all retired citizens who have worked get Social Security. Depending on how much you've earned and paid, you get paid back. This is so you don't die. Yeah. So war is gone now, but this is an accurate assessment. And okay. Defended Rittenhouse, and now defending Petty and Renee, who was just leaving her driveway, even though Kyle probably wanted to kill somebody. They were threatened just like the cops on George Floyd were. Oh, this is a new.
Stop fucking hitting them! Stop! Tell your fucking boys to stop! That's not that way.
I'm standing as far.
No,
I'm
get over there. Leave them alone! Leave them alone, you motherfuckers! Stop fucking hitting them! Stop! Tell your fucking boys to stop! That's not that way.
I'm standing as far.
No, get over there.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he's a big threat right there. Doesn't look like he's about to kill anybody. Doesn't look like he's about to kill anybody there. Like, why do they have to defend murder? Tony Robbins for president? Who is Tony Robbins? I don't even know who Tony Robbins is. He's an American author and coach. Oh, that guy. Yeah. I don't think he needs to be president. I don't know. Okay, the only ice support is in my tea. And then only if it's iced tea. Tony Robbins is a sociopathic narcissist and not a good human. That was my impression. Like, once I remembered who he was, I was like, oh, he's that guy. We handled immigration before ICE. Yeah, I think people forget ICE is not like this institution that's been around for centuries or something. It's fairly new. Okay, what do you want to say, Wiggy? You want to come on? As long as you agree to just like not swear and be respectful and stick to facts, you're more than welcome to come on the show. And I'm only 58 and I speak for myself and I'm not dead. I mean, feel free to call and leave a message. Number's right there. Or just there's the link. Come on, Daddy. Dude, if you want to come on, go ahead. And probably just another. I hear crickets. So yeah, still Still not seeing him. Anyway, we gave him a chance. We're running out of the comments here. Okay. Looks like we're spinning out. Okay, well, we'll check and see if he left a message. Still no message. Okay, well, we tried, Kitty. Another MAGA. Whoops, we got something to talk about. Oh, now this is interesting. Let's share this. Good timing. Thank you for saving the show there, Kitty. All right. So we'll look at this. You saw me spinning out, and you got me. Okay, it's controversial. Border Patrol chief and some agents expected to leave Minneapolis on Tuesday, sources say. So this is the controversial. This is George Bovino. This is who I think of. Oh. Every time I see George Bovino, has anybody seen One Battle After Another? Because every time I see George Bovino, have you seen it, Kitty? Oh, then you won't get this. There's George Bovino right there. Sean Penn's character in One Battle After Another. Total white supremacist guy, and he's even got that same haircut and everything. It's like, it's just uncanny. So, all right, let's go back to here. Okay, whoops. So let's go back and look at this again. If I can find my screen. Too many tabs, Kelly. It's like there we are. Okay. Top border official Border Patrol George Bovino and some of his agents are expected to leave Minneapolis on Tuesday and return to their respective sectors, according to three sources familiar with the discussions, sidelining a key player in the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. The move comes after President Donald Trump announced he was dispatching White House border czar Tom Canned Ham to Minneapolis in the wake of Saturday's official shooting of a U.S. citizen. The White House has said Homan, who is expected to manage immigration and customs enforcement operations in the city, or Homan is expected. Okay, one official said it was a mutual decision to have Bovino depart. Yes, mutual, but between who and who? Some Border Patrol agents are expected to remain in the city. CNN reached out to DHS for comment. Administration officials were left deeply frustrated this weekend over how Bovino and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem handled the fallout over the murder of Alex Preddy in Minneapolis. According to one official, Trump spent several hours Sunday and Monday watching news coverage. So that's how he spends all his time, isn't it? Watching news coverage, and was happy about how his administration was coming across. Of course, he's not unhappy with the fact that a man was murdered. It's about how his administration was coming across. CNN previously reported that Noem was in touch with the White House throughout the day. Others say that Bovino, who became the face of Trump's immigration enforcement operation in Minnesota, made matters worse by lying that Freddie intended to massacre federal agents. He sat for an interview with CNN and held a news conference Sunday, but neither appearance tamped down criticism of the administration's lies and contradictions. Senior officials began discussing, talking. Anyway, anything doesn't seem like there's that much more relevant there. But yeah, they get really mad. So yeah, so anyway, just on one battle after another, extremely good movie. Like some of the acting in that was just really top notch. Sean Penn did great. What's his name? The Leonardo DiCaprio. You've never seen him like this. And then the daughter in that movie was also like really, really good for somebody that's still new. What's her name? I don't know her name. Oh, Tiana Taylor, I think. Anyway, it's a really good movie if you get a chance to watch it. It's on HBO. So I think we're wrapped. I think even like MAGA's tired of having this argument. We're just all so tired. So anyway, we'll call this a wrap today, and a little bit early. I got some other stuff I can do. So I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Those who did, and those who didn't, you'll never know I didn't say it. So all right, talk to you later. Ciao.